Tom.
Hello.
I have with me Tom, a young amateur radio operator who has the call sign VU2TO. Tom, tell me about how you become interested in ham radio.
As my father worked in National Institute of Amateur Radio as an assistant director, I saw my father speaking to my relatives, friends, and many other co-workers. Seeing them, I became interested in it. After seeing this activity, I saw this and I wanted to know more about it. So I wrote my ham radio exam when I was 9th standard, and I got my license when I was 13 years of age.
In which school you were studying then?
I was studying in Father Rock Memorial High School, Khairabad, Hyderabad.
Okay.
After qualifying my ham radio exam, I operated with many of my friends and relatives and became more interested in it. After knowing about ham radio, I felt like there's a lot to learn, so I started learning one by one in depth.
You operate normally.
I operate from National Institute of Amateur Radio Club Station.
Who is your inspiration?
For me, Mr. Suri, the founder of National Institute of Amateur Radio, inspired me and supported me in many of the ways to learn more about amateur radio. I'm very thankful for him to teach about amateur radio.
So, what are your achievements?
After passing my amateur radio exam, I participated in many of the contests held by the amateur radio clubs. I got several awards. One of the prestigious achievement I have received was the Diamond DXCC award. It is an award given to a ham who have operated 100 different countries. I have operated 100 different countries in the span of 6 months, even after being busy with my school activities. I'm very happy to receive it.
In which year you got Diamond DHCC?
I got my Diamond DXCC award in the year 2012.
That time you were studying.
Yes,
in
I
school.
was studying in 9th standard.
Very nice. So, what are your experiences in emergency communication?
In 2014, there was a major disaster in the city of Visakhapatnam called the Hudud cyclone. In that cyclone, the police department lost their communications. There were no telephones, no internet, and no any kind of communication. Under that situation, under the request of DGP and the leadership of Mr. Ram Mohan, the director and vice executive of National Institute of Amateur Radio, rushed to the Visakhapatnam for the emergency communication.
You were also one of the team members.
I was one of the volunteer of the team member.
Okay, then explain your experiences there.
Yes, after going there, we as a team got splitted into 3 different places. Since I was the youngest one, I was placed in the police control room right in the city.
What about others?
Others were placed in the remote areas like Srikakulam and all. And I used to get lot of emergency messages from the remote areas from my colleagues. One of the message I want to share personally is a message I got from one of the remote area. There is a Jain temple. About that Jain temple, there was a tree that has been fallen down, and since it is almost 2-3 days after the cyclone, the tree was not removed. I got this message from one of the remote area telling it to clear the trees. I wrote it in a paper and I passed it to the respective officials. They took action immediately by clearing all the trees. The police officials, the temple authorities were very happy knowing about this, that the young man has helped to clear all the trees.
And this came in newspaper, media and all.
Yes, the role of amateur radio during Hudud cyclone has come in almost all the medias and press. One of the famous film actor, Mr. Nagarjuna, interviewed Mr. Ram Mohan, the director of National Institute of Amateur Radio, and me about the role and experiences of amateur radio. He was very happy and appreciated our work for our experiences in amateur radio, and this program was telecasted in TV several times.
So, tell me about your US trip.
Yes, seeing my emergency communication activities, I was invited by Dayton Ham Mention. Mr. Suri, the founder of National Institute of Amateur Radio, sponsored me to attend the Dayton Ham Mention USA. It is an ham mention where 30,000 of the hams attend this program. In this program, the people get more expertise in the field of amateur radio. After that, I shared my amateur radio and emergency communication activities in the youth forum. I'm very thankful to Mrs. Carol Perry, WB2 MGP and Michael Carter for supporting me and encouraging me a lot. And I'm also thankful to MFJ for giving me a lot of gifts.
Share your experiences with Edward Michael, the astronaut there.
I was also lucky to meet the astronaut, Mr. Michael Edward, KE5AIT. He was very happy to see me. He shared his amateur radio experiences in space. I got to know many of the things about amateur radio and the role of amateur radio in space. I'm very happy to meet him.
Tom, you have any other interesting experiences?
Yes, I will share about my amateur radio experiences in the 9th class textbook. One day when I was in 12th standard, while I was studying in intermediate second year in Little Fraud Junior College, I got a call from Srujana High School. At that time, I got to know that my amateur radio experiences is now taught in 9th class textbook.
Which subject?
English practical book. I went to that school and I gave the amateur radio training and shared my experiences, and they gifted me the book, and I was very happy to receive that book. Seeing that, I felt very joyous that my amateur radio is now taught in 9th class textbook. Seeing this, many of the students are inspired to know more about amateur radio field and coming to National Institute of Amateur Radio for the awareness program and training of amateur radio.
Now what are you doing now?
At present, I am doing my engineering third year in Swami Vivekananda Institute of Technology, Secunderabad, in electronics and communication.
What are your other hobbies?
I love doing photography and I like playing badminton.
What is your message to young generation?
I can tell there are many hobbies. In this, I can suggest the amateur radio. It is very helpful for you in many ways. It can improve your communication skills. It can improve you technically, because since I'm an engineering student, what I learn in the college is practically done in amateur radio. Many of the people does not know about this field. I encourage all of you and welcome you in this amateur radio field and explore it. Definitely you will have fun.
Tell me about your family members.
My entire family are hams. My father, Jose Jacob, is working in National Institute of Amateur Radio with his call sign VU2JOS, and my mother, Lissy Jose, VU3LMS, and my brother, Tony K. Jose, with his call sign VU2UI. My grandfather is also a ham with his call sign VU2ACN. I'm the third generation ham. And many of the other relatives are also hams, and they inspired me a lot.
Tom, nice to meet you and wish you all the best.
Thank you very much.